Question number 28. Which diagram represents the apparent path of the sun on March 21st for the observer at the equator? The trick to this question is to know how to figure out what the keywords are. It's asking about the apparent path of the sun. That's easy, but we need to know is March 21st and at the equator. Earlier in this Regents, we had a question about daylight. I forget what number it was really early. I think it was in like the first 10. But it asked about when the sun is coming up, when it's going down, when we're getting more daylight. And what we talked about was that on December 21st, we have the least daylight of the year in the northern hemisphere. And June 20th, we have the most sunlight. So that means that in our summer, in June, the sun is going to be the furthest above the equator, so we get the most daylight. Now, we're talking about the equator on March 21st, which is the beginning of spring. So on the beginning of spring and the beginning of fall, the sun is directly over the equator. So if it's directly over the equator, obviously you can tell the answer is going to be number one, but what you need to know is that on March, it's becoming our summer, and it's leaving the southern hemisphere's winter. So the sun is changing its position from all the way south, 23.5 degrees south, to 23.5 degrees north into our summer. So in both the fall and the spring, the sun is directly overhead. So it's going to rise directly from the east and set directly in the west on the equator. So make sure when you see questions like this, you find the keywords like March 21st, so you know it's the beginning of spring, and on the equator. They always have a question like this, but they always change the date, and they always change where you are. So sometimes you'll be in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, and sometimes it'll be winter, and sometimes it'll be summer. They like to trick you up, but this one is pretty clear cut. March 22nd, the beginning of spring, and you're on the equator, so it has to rise in the east and set in the west.